Hello and welcome back to Reads the News. The United States government is rolling out a new pilot program that could require some visitors to fork over a staggering $15,000 bond just to set foot on American soil. It's a new reality for thousands of potential tourists and business travelers. The Trump administration says this is a necessary step to crack down on visa overstays, but critics are calling it an expensive, discriminatory policy that will decimate the U.S. tourism industry. We'll be diving into the specifics, who this affects, how it works, and the potential fallout for both international travelers and the U.S. economy. The U.S. State Department is launching a 12-month pilot program that will empower U.S. consular officers to demand a bond from certain B1 and B2 visa applicants. These are your standard business and tourist visas. The bond amounts are not small. They can be set at $5,000, $10,000, or a maximum of $15,000. For context, that's more than the average annual income in many countries. The program is set to kick off on August 20th, 2025 and will run for a full year. So who is in the crosshairs of this new policy? The government notice states that it will target nationals from countries that fall into three categories: those with historically high rates of visa overstays, countries where screening and vetting information is considered deficient, and nations that offer citizenship by investment programs without a residency requirement. The list of affected countries is still under wraps, but the government has promised to release it 15 days before the program begins. The key takeaway here is that this is not a new idea. A similar visa bond program was proposed in 2020 during the first Trump administration, but was never fully implemented due to the COVID-19 pandemic shutting down global travel. Its revival now signals a renewed and aggressive focus on immigration enforcement, moving beyond the border wall and into the consular offices around the world. The bonds, according to the government, are a way to ensure the U.S. is not financially responsible if a visitor overstays their welcome. Here's a video from ABC7.
The State Department has proposed a pilot program requiring some tourists and business travelers to post a bond up to $15,000 in order to enter the country. The program applies to nationals from countries identified as having high visa overstay rates or insufficient screening processes. The previous Trump administration tried launching a similar bond pilot program in 2020, but it was never implemented due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Now let's talk about the real-world consequences. While the government frames this as a necessary deterrent, critics, including business leaders and immigration experts, are sounding the alarm. The U.S. Travel Association has noted that the tourism industry is already in a slump, with a significant decline in overseas visitors. This new policy, with its hefty financial burden, could be the final nail in the coffin for many businesses that rely on international travelers. Imagine you're a business person from one of the affected countries. You would need to come to the US for a quick conference for a meeting. Now you're potentially faced with an additional $15,000 expense, which will be tied up for months. The notice says the bond will be refunded upon your timely departure, but the process of posting and discharging the bond is cumbersome, a fact that the State Department has historically acknowledged. This could make legitimate business travel prohibitively expensive and time-consuming, pushing professionals to other countries with less restrictive policies. Critics argue that this isn't just a policy, it's a message that visitors from certain parts of the world are inherently less trusted and more heavily policed. It's a diplomatic tool, yes, but a blunt one that could create lasting diplomatic and economic damage. So what's next? The countries affected will be announced soon, and the pilot program will officially begin. The government says they will closely monitor the program's impact, but many are skeptical. The policy is a direct result of a renewed focus on immigration enforcement by the current administration, and it's part of a broader trend of tightening visa requirements. Just last week, the State Department announced that many visa renewal applicants would now require an additional in-person interview. The big question is whether this policy will actually work. Will it deter overstays, or will it just deter legitimate travelers? The US Travel Association warns that this could undermine the US's competitive position in the global travel market, potentially costing billions in lost revenue. For many, this move feels less like a solution to a problem and more like a punitive measure with a high price tag, not just for the traveler, but for the entire US economy. Now that's our deep dive for today. As the clock ticks down to August 20th, the world will be watching to see which countries make the list and how this unprecedented policy will play out. We'll be here to bring you the details as they unfold. Thank you for watching, and remember to like and subscribe for more news that challenges the narratives. Until next time, stay informed, updated, and curious.